Hello, everybody. This episode of episode number 18, is sponsored by Skylight Frame. Skylight Frame is more than just a photo frame. It's a magical way to keep loved ones close, no matter the distance. With Skylight, you can share the joy of a special moment, a silly snapshot, or a treasured memory instantly, making it the perfect present for anyone who values connection and family. There's no better way to put a smile on your loved one's face than to share a special photo with them, whether it's a glimpse of the kids being silly, a magical moment from a vacation, or a sentimental memory from years past. Skylight Frame brings your favorite memories to life right in your own home. It's an effortless setup and it's easy to get with no app, no subscription required, and a quick 1-minute setup. Skylight is designed for easy for all ages. Simply plug in the frame and you're ready to start sharing memories. Skylight Frame is a great private way to share photos without posting them to the world or having them print to hard copies. It's also over 1 million happy customers. It's a top-rated brand. Thousands of 5-star reviews and available in over 30 countries. It's recommended by the Today Show, Forbes, New York Mag, and more. For a limited time, get 20% off your first purchase of Skylight Frame when you go to skylightframe.com/hockey. That's right. To get 20% off Skylight Frame, just go to ca.skylightframe.com/hockey. Get 20% off at Skylight Frame at ca.skylight.com/hockey. Let's roll the intro, folks. And we are back. Welcome, everybody. Episode number 18 on another gloomy doomsday Thursday because it looks like absolute garbage outside. Again, for the 5th day in a row. It's ridiculous. But hope everybody's having a great week so far. We're doing well here. Neil's off working today. He's a working man. It's all good. Let him be. Hope everyone, though, is doing really well. Stay tuned for the end, if you can. I have probably the wildest story of the year so far that I've already told Dylan over at THPN. Haven't shared with a lot of other people, but it's a good one. You don't want to miss it. Hope everyone's doing well. We had a good one Tuesday night. We got a good one tonight. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it, man. We got our one goaltender who's still looking pretty hot, and we got the other one on the other end, man, who's just as equally is good. Let's dive right into it, though. Tuesday night, it was a bit of a slow one to start, but Engvall broke open the score sheet for the Islanders. He goes up 1-0, and all of a sudden it's going to be I think it was Rasmus Andersson who finds his way on the scoreboard there to tie it up on the power play there halfway through the third period, and all of a sudden we go to another shootout. Kirkland gets the winner, and the Flames win it 2-1. First thing about this game on Tuesday, I mean, it sucks because the last 2 games now, you're getting goal scorers from, at least in regulation, from Daniel Miramanoff and Rasmus Andersson now this game, and then you minus out Blake Coleman's goal. He had an empty netter on last Friday against the Predators. So your last 2 games, you're getting goals from guys who play defense. And one guy who's really not supposed to be your goal scorer on this team. He's a true defensive defenseman in Miramanoff. But regardless, I mean, it's more of a reminder for this team that they're just finding ways to win here in 2024. And like, if you guys remember all the way back in 2014 with the Flames, it's starting to eerily feel similar with that team where they're getting good goaltending. They have a horrible offense, but their defense just keeps shutting the door. And that's just what this team just keeps on doing. Some really good to take away from this, some not so good to take away from this. Dustin Wolf, again, for, what is it now, the 3rd night in a row. Well, he's going to get another start tonight. I think it's his 3rd start regardless tonight. But he's been he's been firing on all cylinders these last couple of games here, and deservingly so. I think Huska's kind of seen this and go, you know what, like we got to ride the hot hand a little bit, and I don't blame him, right? You just got to keep it going until you know what, you don't want to. It sucks because if he has a bad night tonight and they lose like 6-0, then it's like, oh well, you're done, you're benched, and then like it doesn't feel like a good thing for Wolfie going into the weekend. But you know, you imagine that if he does well again tonight, as an example, like if it's another low-scoring affair and you know Calgary somehow comes away with another win, it makes things interesting Saturday then, because with Vladar not being played for so long now, because you're riding this hot hand, does it make things interesting going into the weekend on Saturday? So he's been lights out. I thought it was funny. I think it was Patrick, or no, who was it? It might have been Pierre Engvall after the game, or Palmieri actually after the game on Tuesday, who had that one-timer late in the third period. All of a sudden gets denied, and like Wolf came out of nowhere to slide across and make an amazing save. And Palmieri made a quote after the game where he was like, I thought this puck was going in, like for sure. It was a really good one-timer, and all of a sudden he's just like, well, frig, like where did this kid come from? Like he just slid like out of nowhere, and he's just right there to make the save. So you know, this is just another show where we're talking about Dustin Wolf just being the man and having another really good performance. You know, we mentioned the power play as well too. The last couple episodes hasn't done well. You know, they finally get one here thanks to Rasmus Andersson. And you look at the power play too. I mean, they only had the one, and they executed well on that one specifically. So it was a good setup. I mean, Varlamov just really got too far out of his net, and all of a sudden Andersson, I don't even think he knew that he was that far out of his net. It was still a good shot, wide open net, and Andersson found it and tucked it home. So again, it's and you go into a shootout too. I like the confidence that they gave in, you know, it's guys that haven't started well this year. You know, you give it to Sharon Govich, you give it to Kuzmenko to start, and then it kind of goes off the rails a little bit there. So, you know, we'll talk about Kirkland afterwards. But I like the fact that they did throw Kuzmenko into the shootout here, and it was a nasty goal that he had in the shootout. So it was a good backhand top shelf on Varlamov, and see you later. That was. And Wolf just denies, I think in the shootout here, he denied Palmieri and Horvat there as well. So again, Wolf is just saving this team and just finding dirty ways to win. And, you know, you got to give him credit for that. But again, I think the one thing to look at it on a whole is that the fact that this offense is not clicking at all. Like, you haven't had a goal from any one of their forwards in the last 2 games, and they still win. It's weird to look at. It can either be very concerning, or man, they're still winning games and their forwards are not even scoring goals. So there is 2 sides of it. I tend to lean a little bit towards this isn't that great sign, because you don't really have any guys that are on a even 60-point pace right now, and it's a little concerning. So I think these guys up front know that they have to do a better job in front of their defense, in front of Wolf, and you know, start giving them a little bit more room to breathe, and just got to start finding more quality chances here. It's just you know, they're getting the shots off, which is great, but again, we talk about the quality of chances that the Flames are getting here, and it's just not doing it. So on top of that too, like you see the face-off percentage here all the way down at 37%. It continues to be an issue. The Islanders dominate the face-off draw. A lot of the things that you see here on the stats like would indicate that the Islanders should have won this game. They blocked more shots. They were out hitting them. They weren't giving away the puck more. They won the faceoff percentage by a mile, and it was pretty close in shots. And you would think that this is a game that the Islanders should have walked away with easily. And, you know, it's all thanks again to the defense in front of Wolf, and Wolf himself making some really big key saves and some key blocks when they were necessary. In order to put them into to at least get them the point, and then obviously get them into the shootout. So yeah, it was a bit of a scary one Tuesday, but you know, it makes things definitely more interesting going into Thursday night tonight. You know, you got a tough one in, but it's definitely not. It sucks because it's like you have so much confidence in this group, and you're 10-6-3 now, about over a quarter of the way through the year, and you're getting this type of performance from this team without their forward group really all that special, right? They're probably bottom of the league in that in the goal department, and you have them really far below too in the power play as well. So it's not a pretty sight to see. But again, they're still finding ways to win, and you start to still wonder, like, when do the rails fall off? Like, when did the tires start falling off here? Because this is something that we've seen it too many times in the past where it's not sustainable, right? Like, this is a unit that is heavily relying on their goaltending, the defense in front of them, right, who have been playing really well, and the guys up front are not producing offensively, and it's a little scary to think about. So again, like, there's two sides of the coin to it where you're not sure if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Clearly, it's not a great thing because you need your guys to score, but it says a lot that they're still winning these games and they're winning these defensive battles to push them over the edge. So again, like, it's, you know what, again, like, this is just gonna be another week where it's really, really tough opponents coming up tonight and then Saturday night. In this kind of 4-game window that we're looking at ever since the break from last week where you had Nashville and the Islanders, you're getting 2 wins out of it. I tend to think that's pretty good, but again, the tougher times are still ahead for this team. And, it's a good Rangers team that showed out in Vancouver the other night, and they're definitely going to need to show up for this one tonight. So a couple of stats or what I wrote down from this game as well. Talked about Kirkland's signature again. Like, I think this is probably the second or third time that Kirkland's gone in the shootout, and he's gone back to this signature move where he starts all the way out into the far left, brings it all the way back, kind of almost fakes Varlamov in the sense that he's wanting him to come out a bit more, and then he buries it like top corner right side of the net. See you later. So he's kind of baiting him a little bit on that shootout goal, and it was phenomenal. And the story continues for Kirkland. It's fair to say that he deserves a top 9 spot because he's one of the guys. He's another one of the guys that's been playing very physically. He fits well on that fourth line with Lomberg. I still think that fourth line is really good. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing, but again, they're not getting the effort from the top 9 guys as of yet, even as these last couple of games. So big test tonight because you're going to have to go up against Shesterkin, and you need somebody to step up here, whether it be Sharon Govich, whether it be Kuzmenko, whether it be Kadri or Huberto or whatever the case may be. Huska's going to put them to the test tonight because they know that this isn't good enough, right? It's great that they're getting these wins here, but it's not good enough from their forwards. And they have to know that too. They know that they've been lacking a little bit. Nobody's getting their chances. Who knows? Maybe they'll come again, but it's a weird period where it's like, man, these last 2 games, you haven't gotten a single goal from your forwards. So I thought that was probably, despite the win on Tuesday, the biggest thing that stood out to me. And maybe a small thing too is that I mentioned it a bit earlier where I guess it's kind of nice that Kuzmenko did manage to score in the shootout. Maybe that's something that can try to get him going. But again, like, who knows, right? It's going to be it'll be a tough night tonight, I think, for these guys. But who knows, right? This team surprised us already this year, so who knows where we're at with it. But overall, I thought wasn't the prettiest way to get it done, but they're still finding those gritty ways to win. And you're hoping that at some point these forwards can start locking themselves into the zone here and saying, we got to get going here. It's just it's not good enough, and we got to see better. So we'll do a quick ad read break for you guys, and we'll be back on the other side here with a little preview of tonight's game and then my wild story somewhat. 2024-25 NHL season still has that new car smell, and the action is heating up at DraftKings Sportsbook. It's an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-time users to get started at DraftKings Sportsbook. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win, and if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. You can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. It's only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Also sponsored by Game Time. Already just went to a comedy show this past weekend. Super funny, Sebastian Maniscalco, and it was super cheap tickets too for it. Just a night to get out and do something, and it was a lot of fun and definitely created a lot of memories that night. So Game Time easily went through Game Time, and Game Time now has a new feature called Game Time Picks, which filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Game Time Picks is curated to make it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. You can toggle the all-in pricing feature, which shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout, and you get a panoramic view of your seat in the app before you buy. You get the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference, and the Game Time ticket coverage customer service policy is the most flexible in the ticketing industry. You can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, and again, you can create an account, redeem code THPN for $20 off. You can download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Speaking of game time, it is game night again here for the Flames. Another episode where we're able to preview something before one of the big games tonight. Probably one of the bigger ones of the month of November, as you got the big bad New York Rangers coming into town. And there was word by Pat Steinberg today, I'll bring it up for you guys here in a second, that it is going to be Igor Shesterkin coming in tonight for the Rangers. Wolf is going to get the shot back in net tonight. I guess for the second straight day, Steinberg mentions that it's another maintenance day for Uyghur. So still wondering if he's good to go. They haven't released the defensive pairings quite yet as of the start of this episode. So we're not sure. Maybe Uyghur's a bit of a game time decision here. We'll kind of see. I imagine that the way that Steinberg kind of phrases this is that he should be okay to go tonight, but I guess we'll find out pretty soon. Yeah, and it looks like it's the same lineup as what we saw on Tuesday. A little bit tweaked, though, as you're going to see Zari now with Huberdeau and Coleman. Pospisil again with Kadri and Kuzmenko. You got Sharangovich with Backlund and Coronado. And again, you got Lomberg with Kirkland. And Kevin Rooney just getting switched over to the right side. They're going to put Kirkland right up the middle on this one. Again, Dustin Wolf will be back in net tonight for the Flames. I think it's probably appropriate that we're looking at the top 12 here rather than who plays on defense tonight, just because it's kind of nice that, we're not – it's just that they've done so well, the defensive core, and we need to start really inspecting on this forward group saying what the hell is going on here. We need to get something going here. So, I like Zari up there with Huberdeau. Ideally, I think for Huberdeau, I'd like to see – Sharangovich up there outside of Coleman. I want to see Coleman go back with Backlund a little bit. They have that good chemistry. That way you can play alongside Coronado. You keep Pospisil there with Kadri, with Kuzmenko. Eventually something's got to give here. And that fourth line, you can't really change too much of it. So that line, frankly, has been doing okay. But I'm not loving the fact that you got Coleman right there with Zari and Huberdeau. I would, again, if you're looking for more scoring, I guess at the other side of the coin here, though, is that if you're looking for scoring efficiency here, you have Coronado on the one side and you'll have Sharangovich on the other. You're kind of hoping for something to give here on the wing, and then you can be able to have Backlund right there. But again, you got to keep going with Zari here. It's still a development with him just to try out the center position to see if this is something that, he's able to adjust to, and maybe, and who knows, it could be the case. But overall, I like the lineup for the most part. Whether I'm right or wrong about Sharangovich being there with Backlund and Coronado, and maybe I'd like to see the switch and have Coleman switch with Sharangovich, is it's up for debate, right? I think the biggest player to watch, though, tonight might be, for me, it's going to be Kuzmenko, right? I say that because you ended last game, him going into the shootout, he gets a fantastic goal on Varlamov, and maybe it means nothing at the end of the day, but going into tonight, maybe it just gives him that little boost of confidence, being like, hey, maybe there's something here, right? Maybe that's just what I needed to kind of just break out of the snap a little bit here. So I'm curious to see out of this top 9 here, somebody's got to step up. Somebody's got to say something here. And I think if anybody, I think it's got to be Kuzmenko, or at the very least, the guy you're paying $10 million towards in Jonathan Huberdeau. I know it's tough to say that now, but I mean, we said at the beginning of the contract that it wasn't that great, but you hope that maybe Huberdeau can find eventually a playing partner who's just finding a way to produce. And, that's the only way you're going to get him going here, man. Like, Huberdeau is not going to be the guy to produce for you guys in terms of goals. And that's the tough way to look at it, right? Like, it sucks, but you're paying him to be more or less a playmaker and not a goal scorer. That's just who he is. So, he was happy to take that $10 million, and good on him. But, at some point you got to find somebody who can score goals alongside him. And, maybe we'll eventually find that someday, but something's got to give here tonight. And, who knows? But overall, it's a good lineup. Curious to see what the defensive pairings look like tonight, especially if Weegar. I don't know if he's, again, it's weird how they just say it's another maintenance day, whether or not he's good to go or not. It's just a weird way to phrase it, but, we'll trust Pat on this one here, and appreciate him giving us the full scoop on the lineup here. So, I will be live tonight for anybody wondering as well. I'm going to be live on the THPN YouTube channel alongside Jimmy from the Blue Seats Rangers podcast. It's always a fun time to go live again. I haven't done one in a couple of weeks here, so should be good in that department there. And hope you guys can come check us out there at 9 o'clock Eastern. We will be live for that one. Not going to be a super long show today, but I thought we'd wrap up with a quick little story here. I won't dive too deep into it again because this happened yesterday. I think I've told the story now a few times already, and it's getting kind of old, frankly. So it's tire changing season, as everybody knows, in parts of Calgary and parts of Ontario where I'm from. And I'm not going to call out the tire dealership. Just keep them out of it. It's not worth it. But it's tire changing season. It's kind of a newish car that we have, and we go in, and I need to get an alignment done as well in this car. So they're offering tires. We have to change them over and do the alignment on this car. Okay. So I go in 9 o'clock in the morning. Guy goes up and tells me we're going to be about an hour with this. And I go, no problem. All good. It's a busy time of year, man. I get it. Everybody's changing their tires. It's the first time I've been to this tire place. That's a fairly big company that I'm still not going to mention. So whatever. It's all good. Takes an hour. Not a problem. We get an hour into it, and the guy comes up to me initially and goes, like, so we're going to have to do an alignment on this car. And I go, yeah, like, I'm fully aware of that. No problem. Like, we got to get it done anyway. So we're looking at upwards of $300 for this maintenance. That was fully expected on my side of things. About 15, 20 minutes later, service guy comes up to me again and goes, so you got some nuts that are stripped on this wheel, and we're going to be charging you labor for it on top of that. He had the nerve to say that. And I go, I'm kind of like rattled a little bit. I didn't really know how to respond, but I was like, what do you mean they're stripped? Like, what are you talking about? This is a brand new car. Like, how in God's green earth can it be stripped? Right. And that's what he tells me. He goes that, like, sorry, man, like, it's gonna be now upwards of like close to $600 for this maintenance repair. And now I'm freaking out going, this is crazy. Like, I have to cancel this appointment. Like, there's no way I'm about to drop $600 on you guys. It's wild, right? When initially, like, I'm thinking in my mind, this is a somewhat brand new car. How can these nuts be already stripped? So I told him, I said, hey, go get it for me. I want to see it myself, because I have a fairly good idea of what my nuts on my tires look like. So the guy goes. He goes to get his guy along with the nuts from the tire, right? I look outside. My car is still in the parking lot. Hasn't moved, right? And now I'm heated. And I go back to the guy, and they came back in and go, guys, like my car is still in this parking lot here. How can you know that my nuts are stripped? That's not my car in the shop, which was exactly the case. It was another Crosstrek we drive a Crosstrek in the garage, and they go, oh, sorry about that. And not 5 minutes later does my car go in, we get it all fixed up, and we go home. So moral of the story is get your shit together, Tire Center. It's not going to take much, right? Anyway, it was a wild story yesterday. I'm kind of tired of telling it, though, because like I've told it to so many people already, and it's just that I'm exhausted telling it. So anyway, I thought I'd let you guys know that just careful out there when you go to all these tire shops, man. Or just whenever. If you have to get maintenance on your car, go to somebody independent. Go to your local guy, and somebody that you know is trustworthy, and just keep it the way it is, right? That's just the way to do it. So anyway, again, not a super long episode for everybody today. Just another short one here. You're going to get our full reaction tonight on the THPN YouTube channel. Again, myself and Jimmy from the Blue Seats podcast over for the Rangers will be on tonight at 9 Eastern for this one. You'll check us out there. We'll also have a bit of post-game reaction as well, too, when the game's all said and done. And then I'm going to go die in bed. I can't wait for that because it's already been a long week. So, yeah, again, short one again today, guys. Appreciate you checking us out. And hopefully we'll get Neil back on Monday and hopefully get some more guests eventually down the road as well. So thanks again, guys, for watching and listening. And we will see you, for those of you watching the game tonight, we'll see you tonight. And we'll see you again on Monday for reactions from tonight and the weekend. So see you later and have a great night. Talk soon.